Infantry! Fix bayonets! Cavalry! Charge! Artillery! Fire! G'day everyone. Welcome back to Empires of Europe. This is a big day today, the launch of the new update for 1700. And this is, without a doubt, the largest update we've ever done for either of the mods. So there's a huge amount of stuff that's new, too much to go through on this video. So we'll just cover off a couple of the highlights. The transition to the new map, which of course 1100 has already done. The new scenes that have also come with the map. Brand new weapons and armors. I've re-implemented all the guns, added some new ones, changed the how the grenades work, things like that. And the brand new armors, brand new assets. They all use team colors, and I'll explain what that means, how that works. And all of this combined into a single package now, so there is no longer a separate assets mod, and it's all a lot smaller as well, which is great. New cultures and some new troop trees. New sound effects to go along with the weapons and the troop formations. And probably the big one, I'm sure everyone's excited for this, the field artillery, which Sandy Pan's been working on for the last couple of months. So, a huge amount to go through. Let's jump into it. Okay, so starting off with the new map. So this is pretty much the same as what we've introduced for 1100, just with some changes to things like town names, but also some additional sea routes that have been added in. But if you haven't seen this new map, it's completely different geographically. It's a bit larger, but most regions are far more accurate based on what they should look like. I've also hand-picked every single settlement on this map. So, we're looking at Scotland here, for example, the centres of power like Edinburgh, Stirling, Perth, much better represented. And you'll see this all over the map, when we take a look at France now, and then going over into Spain, completely different geographically, but also completely different settlements to what we had in the Lemmy map. The other big ones that are quite different is Central Europe, Germany, going over the Alps now and into Hungary. Hungary is completely different. And this actually has an impact on the power levels as well, because some cultures, some kingdoms have a lot more settlements than they did before. But all in all, I think it's a lot more accurate. Going over the Caucasus now, this is one of my favourite regions. Looks absolutely fantastic. And I think we've got one more, which is going into Lithuania, Russia and Siberia. This whole region looks absolutely fantastic. The other big change with the map is sea travel. So ships and ports are gone, and sea travel is now automatic, which you can see here. All you have to do is click on a region, the pathfinding will find the right way to go, and your little campaign icon will turn into a ship. Likewise, same as your army or your party groups as well. So reason I did this was because the boats code, even though I liked that functionality, it did used to break a lot whenever Tale Worlds did an update. And this method is a lot safer, a lot more stable. Last thing I want to call out on the map is Arabia. So this whole region is now traversable and has some settlements in there. That was a particular bugbear of mine with the Lemmy map. You couldn't actually travel from Medina over to, say, Basra through the desert, but now you can. So it should be some fun battles to be had in those regions. So there's a whole lot more to this map, particularly things around the economy, the way I've distributed resources, how many settlements a town has, what their starting hearth and prosperity levels are. I won't go into all of that today. Still kind of collecting data on how well all of that works. I think the next major update after this one will probably be focused on the economy, especially if we find some things aren't working as well as they could be. So in line with the map update is new scenes for just about everything as well. Towns, villages, hideouts, you name it. And a lot of these has been switching over to the Vlandia templates as they're a much better fit for the time period. But I've also incorporated some new scenes where appropriate as well. So taking a look at a castle here, see some of our new guards, which is cool. And we've got another one in a moment where I've used one of the Eastern templates. There's one of our winged hussars. They're pretty cool. We'll see them again. If we look at this template here, I think it was a Khuzait template, but when you go inside, it's still a pretty good for something like an Eastern European, you know, somewhere in Poland or Russia or something like that. So I've just, I've made sure to pick ones where they add a bit more flavour, but also ones that haven't been seen in the mod before. Looking at a bandit hideout now, so completely new hideouts. Some of these are pretty cool as well. Some of them are actually in cities now, in towns, which is adds a bit different flavour to the mod. And the last one is tournaments, so completely new scenes for tournaments as well. The weapons had already been changed, but now we've got the new scenes too. So yeah, just contributes to the overhaul aspect of the mod, and continuing to give it a fresh new look. So next we have the weapons and armors. Starting with the guns, I've re-implemented all the firearms. I've given them new stats, new models, and new textures. Also added in a few new weapons. The makeshift musket, for example, which is the starting gun. It's a real piece of shit. I'm warning you now. You'll want to replace that as soon as possible. But then, things like the Jazal rifle here, brand new model, new stats. There's a lot more, unique features between the guns. For example, Jazal rifle is the most accurate, but the Jaeger rifle has a quicker reload. And then the carbine, by comparison, much shorter range and accuracy, but the fastest rifle, or the fastest non-pistol weapon in terms of reload. Moving on to the melee weapons, so a bunch of new sabres, era-specific sabres, instead of using the vanilla ones. I'll just take a look at a couple. The fancy ones, the guard sabre, the cavalry sabre. These look really nice. And then also the rapier, which is the standard issue for the Western noble troops. That one looks really nice. Also a few, non-sabre weapons. We've got the shovel, which is the standard issue for the artillery units. It's better than it's more dangerous than it looks, so I'll warn you now. Moving on to the armour now. So there's three categories essentially for the Western troops at least. We've got the infantry armour, the officer armour, and the noble. And there's a few variations within each. There's only one set of armours, but then the colours change depending on the faction. So that's how all the gear works from now on. Also worked really hard to make sure these are compatible with vanilla items, so you can mix and match to get more combinations. Here's some of the officer gear now, the long coat and the normal coat. I like those ones, they look good. And then also the noble gear. This is generally higher stat, but not in every case. The last one I'll call out is the captain's gear. This is not you can't purchase this in the market. You have to capture it from one of the two pirate captains in the game. But this is some of the highest stat armor, excluding the winged hussar armor. So this is good stuff. You want to get this if you can. So next up is the new sound effects, and there's a few areas here. First we'll take a look at is the orders, which also is relevant to the formation. Then the sounds of the actual weapons themselves, and then some of the kind of fill-in things, the grunts and screams and stuff like that. So starting off with the formation sounds. So artillery is our formation number 1. Artillery! Move! Then formation number 2, which is ranged, but this is now called infantry. Infantry! And then third one, cavalry, still this just way. Cavalry. Cavalry! And the fourth formation, which I haven't put in this video, is officers. The reason I did that was because the game engine just always defaults officers or companions to horse archers, so it just made sense to do it that way. But I think this is good because you just have three main formations now: artillery, infantry, and cavalry. So it makes it a lot easier to sort things out. So we'll take a look at some of the weapon sound effects now. So you can hear the cannons; they're pretty good. Always going off in the background. Turn that music off. And then as the enemy gets a bit closer here, we'll hear the new musket sounds. So this is an actual musket sound, which I got a recording of. And actually, we just heard the pistol then a moment ago too. We'll see this again in a sec. The artillery soldiers on the right side. Here we go. Yeah, that's our pistol sound. So pretty cool. Also an authentic pistol recording. The last one is the kind of there we go. The kind of screams and shouts we hear throughout, which comes from Ulfkarl's sound effects. So it all creates a very different feel for the battles, and I just like the fact they're all real sound effects. So taking a look at the new troops now, just to start off with, I'll open up the British tree and just emphasise what I was talking about with the formations a minute ago. So the Western trees aren't changed, except that you'll see all the gunpowder units are now in the ranged formation, or the number 2 formation, whereas all of the artillery are in the number 1 or the infantry formation. I am figuring out how to change those names and icons so it's less confusing, but at least everything is now either formation 1, 2 or 3, so that should make things a lot easier. Take a look at some of the new units now. So we've got a smallish Albanian tree. These guys are a mix of light infantry and light cavalry, and they'll be available as mercenary units in the Balkans. I've also redone the Hungarian tree with a couple of new assets. Likewise for the Serbian tree, again these guys available within the towns and villages in the Balkans, although still under the Ottomans from a kingdom perspective. The Cossacks are a new culture altogether, but they have a relatively small tree, I guess reflecting the non-professional nature of their army, and all of the Cossack settlements and lords are either part of the Polish Lithuanian Commonwealth or the Russian Empire. A few more unique ones within the Russian tree. We have our Pomestian light cavalry. Even though they're light, they are relatively heavily armoured. They don't have a gun, so they're only good for melee. But I'm keen to see if they actually work out, if they can still be effective. And then also looking at the Polish tree, they of course have the winged hussar, which is both the most heavily armoured cavalry in the game, but they also have a firearm, so that makes them essentially the best cavalry unit. So I'm keen to see how 50 to 100 hussars can influence a battle. Last one we'll take a quick look at is the Ottoman tree. Just to see some of the new assets we've got here. So we've got the traditional Janissary hat or helmet, and if we take a look at the one of the artillery units as well, the Topçu, he's actually using one of the Western female noble hats, but it's a pretty good fit for what it's actually supposed to look like. So yeah, just repurpose that one. So saving the best till last, the new field artillery. So you've probably seen some videos of this already, but it's fully implemented now. I won't bother talking about how it works. I'll save that for another video, but just search the encyclopedia for artillery, and that will explain the mechanics. But yeah, as you can see, it's a lot of fun. The fire rate's quite high. My kind of initial testing, it's quite powerful. can definitely turn the tide of a battle. And if if you've got a good line of sight, or your enemy has a good line of sight, you're actually going to be, in a very risky position. The bullets or the projectiles don't explode, but they do pierce, which is how they should be. I think we'll see in a moment here. Yeah, one round can easily kill 3, 4, 5 of your own units. I've also changed the cannons during sieges to shoot multiple projectiles now. 2 reasons for this. One is because they do a much better job of destroying fortifications, which you can see at the moment. The wall of this castle is just getting shattered, but they also kill more troops, which I kind of like. This balances sieges a lot more. The attacker is now a lot stronger than they were before. So, you won't be losing heaps of men if the AI is doing a siege, assuming they've got some artillery to back them up. So, I think it plays out much better. So that's it for this update. Live now on Steam and Nexus. Make sure you look at the installation instructions because it is greatly simplified. You don't need Lemmy's map anymore. In fact, you don't need any other mods. It's just 1700 standalone package, which is a much smaller download as well. And that's literally all you need, along with Harmony. So there'll definitely be a lot more to come. Like I said, so next update's probably going to be focused on the economy, but also some quality of life updates, things like the formation icons, some nameplates, things like that. But all in all, really, really happy with this release. I'm very excited to play it myself for the first time in many, many months. And yeah, keen to see what everyone else thinks about it. Thanks for watching. We'll see you next time.